So you want to become a reader in 2026 and you don't know where to start? Your library is full of books, but they are a little overwhelming. And honestly, you rather sit down, play video games, and snack? Honestly, sometimes so would I. So, if reading is your goal for 2026, let me help you out. Hi, my name is Sophie, the Bookish Floor. Welcome back to my channel. And if reading is on your list of goals for 2026, let me try and help you out as someone who has been helping people on their reading journey for the last, I don't know, maybe like 15 years. Let me see if I can do the same for you. First of all, let me take this glass off because the glare is insane. Okay, much better. So, you don't need fancy glasses, you don't need fancy books, you don't need anything to become a reader. You just need yourself and the willingness to wanna become. Let's get started. So, how can I help you actually become a reader? I've done videos like this before, something similar, and honestly, the message is somewhat the same. It always ends up being the same because it's the same thing that has worked for me for years with my students. If you guys don't know, I have been a tutor, a teacher, a professor. I've been in the classroom for middle school, for high school, for colleges, for universities, and I have helped a lot of people become readers. And now I am a content creator trying to help you guys read because I love reading. I grew up reading, I grew up around books, but I actually didn't grow up with people telling me how to read or influencing me on how to read. Obviously, you go to school, you have reading programs, but none of that worked on me. Much like you guys, we all go to school, we all get those lists of books that we have to read, and we read them reluctantly, but we don't actually fall in love with reading. Why? Because they're giving us lists of things that we don't care about, that we don't enjoy, and honestly, because we all have different levels of reading, and nobody ever bothers to see what level we are in. And whenever they talk about levels, and I did the same as a teacher because they asked me to do that, is how many words are we reading per minute? Are we answering questionnaires? Which is fine for reading comprehension, and I do not disagree with that. But we're always asking the same questions to all the students, and we don't know what each student is actually taking away from each story because we ask the same question to every single one. But our students are not made the same. They are taking different things from every single story. And depending on the student, their profile, their neurodivergency, the way they see the world, their life experiences, that's what they're going to take away from the story. So if we stop and we talk to them and we talk to each and every single one of you guys who are reading a story, we're going to see that. And when we talk to our community, when we talk to each other in the comments, we see that we all read the same book and we all think differently. That someone is gonna read a book and it's gonna love it, and someone else is gonna hate it. Sometimes we all comprehend the book and we still disagree. Sometimes someone doesn't comprehend the book and that's why they don't like it. But a lot of times we do comprehend the book, but we still don't like it, right? So the comprehension is not necessarily the reason why we don't like the book. It's just we simply have different tastes. The point is that we all get to a level where we all comprehend the book, but the result is different. We all agree or disagree that we like it or dislike it. So that's fine. But how do we actually get there if we don't fall in love with reading in the first place? And yes, I know that you're here to just start reading and not necessarily fall in love with it. That's a big difference. So let's get you started with reading. Step number one in becoming a reader is don't look for lists, don't look for classes, don't look for your personal curriculum. Don't do anything of that yet. We are not there yet. The first thing you have to do is figure out what you like. So, step number one is figure out what you like. Okay, so let's say you are someone who loves music, right? So try and read about that, whatever it is, a magazine. Okay, so I'm gonna use myself as an example. I love Jane Austen. I fell in love with Jane Austen when I was 12 years old. The first time I saw something related to Jane Austen, and I didn't even know who she was. I remember vividly, and I'm gonna age myself, but that's okay. I remember going to the video store to rent a movie, and I went to the video store and I saw the poster of Sense and Sensibility with Kate Winslet and Hugh Grant and Emma Thompson, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing ever. Or the flowery. That's how I remember because I was little, like flowery and like the Regency thing and the cross on the hair, and I just thought, what is this? I want to see it. And I don't even think that we rented it or anything, but I just was mesmerized by the poster. So that was it. That was the first thing. I don't remember when we saw it. Honestly, I don't remember if we rented it or not. I just remember that poster. Next core memory, I already remember that I saw that movie, right? So that was my first intro. So I already knew that I liked it. Now, Jane Austen is a big step. Those are considered classics. So I know that I said don't read classics. And I say this because I was not ready for a Jane Austen book. It took me forever to read Sense and Sensibility. Not weeks, not months, years to read Sense and Sensibility. And that's why I don't recommend that you read classics. And the only reason why I stuck with it is because I love Jane Austen movies so much. Because I knew I loved the movie, I knew I would eventually love the book, but I didn't understand anything that I was reading. So that was way above my pay grade. I had no business reading that, but I knew that I loved the story and I knew that I loved Jane Austen, but I couldn't comprehend the thing that I was reading because I was not up to that level. If I hadn't watched that first and I wasn't so in love with it, I would have given up on reading and maybe I would have been discouraged from reading. And I would have thought that reading was boring and reading was not for me. But I had the ability to realize that I was the problem, that I wasn't at that level, that one day I would be. That my problem was temporary, that it wasn't a problem that I couldn't fix, that I was just not there yet. So next thing that I should be doing is reading things that I like. So, what did I do next? I started thinking what I actually liked. So, what do I like? I like girly stuff. I like stories about friendship. I like stories about adventures. I like stories about different scenarios. I like stories about girlhood. So that's what I like, right? So maybe something easier, something more palatable for me. I was younger. So let's look for something that you like. If you like music, if you like sports, if you like TV series, look for something like that. My introduction was a Jane Austen movie, so I looked for a Jane Austen book. What I should have done instead of jumping to a novel is read something that was a little bit easier for me to digest, and that is maybe a graphic novel. So I have it right here. This is actually a manga, and this is a manga of Sense and Sensibility. And I was able to get this one actually much older, but this is a great introductory to reading novels, into reading classics. If you already have something that you like a movie or a series, and you don't want to jump into the classic because you know that the language maybe is going to be a barrier for you because you are not a reader, try and look for a manga, perhaps maybe a graphic novel, something that is going to be easier for you to digest, for you to start reading. And if you're not sure if you have anything like that you like, anything specific, you can just go to the graphic novel section and look for something that you like. If you like cats, if you like sports, if you like friendship or girlhood. These are some of my first little comic books. I got them at Comic Con, and these are from like an independent like publisher. I think that I got them there. This is like the second edition from John Allison, and it says Luke's brain and everything for scary go around. And this is just a comic book that I loved reading. And this is another one, Blame the Sky by John Allison. Same thing. I remember that I got one, and then the next year I got another one because I really like the comic book and the style. And then last year, the year before, I got this one, the Tea Dragon Society. And I'm not in the introductory level anymore, but reading. But I still like reading manga and comic books because they're so much fun. They're so cozy. They're so quick, and this is a great way to still get your reading done, and they're still just as deep and as emotional, and they still a great way of storytelling. And if you don't want to spend hours and hours and hours reading, you can still get a great story, and again, a great introductory way for you to get into reading. But I know that these are just like very specific, like Regency or cozy reading. But if you don't know what you're into, like go to your bookstore, go to your indie bookstore, go to your Goodwill. Also, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, go to your Goodwill and just look for books. Go to the children's section and look for books and look for comic books about regular things that you like. Okay, if it's really hard for you to look for things that you like series, themes, movies, things like that, you can really translate that into books, then think about things that you like to do. If you like sports, if you like playing music, if you admire someone a lot, then think about a biography. And if you, again, like Michael Jordan, if you like any football player, soccer player, any Olympian, any musician, look for their biography and read that. Reading doesn't have to mean that you have to read again the classic, the big novels, or whatever everybody is talking about that is popular. Reading is very personal, and you're supposed to read whatever you like, not whatever everybody's telling you to like, not whatever everybody's telling you that it's popular. If you want to have something to talk about with people around you, or if you want to create content, then that's different. But in order for you to do that, you also have to like the process of being a reader. And if you are not a reader yet, and if you haven't become a reader yet, it's going to be really hard to jump from 0 to 100 in order to create content or things like that. So let's get you into becoming a reader first, and then you can jump on that train. So, first, find what you like. So, whatever it is that you're into, go look for books about that. So, you can even go on a search online and type whatever you like. Books about dinosaurs, books about butterflies, books about this particular public figure that you like, books about, I don't know, glue, books about slime, books about I don't know, crocheting if you like cozy hobbies, books about famous crocheters, books about ceramics, books about if you're into learning right now, books about fungi, books about mushrooms, books about flowers, books about bees. I don't know, whatever it is that you're like, that you're passionate about, that you're interested in, look for that. That's how you become a reader. Don't become a reader by trying to read what other people tell you. Okay, so now that you know what you want to read, now there you're gonna find a lot of books on different levels, right? You're gonna find books that are very basic and books that are expertise on the subject. So where do you fall in? So the next step is finding your level of reading. So you don't need to stress about this. We are all in different levels. It doesn't matter our age. It doesn't matter if you're 31, you're just discovering reading and you're on level 1, okay? First of all, those levels that I'm talking about only you are gonna know what level you're in. And yes, you can do a reading test and you can do reading comprehension online and see if you're at a fifth grade level or at a, I don't know, university level or whatever level it is. I don't count that. And yes, I'm a professional, but I don't count that. Why? Because one, that's really stressful. And two, especially if you're an older person, if you're not like in primary school, in elementary school, seeing your like where you fall into, like that is incredibly stressful to take a test and see that you are at a fifth grade level when you're an adult. What does that even mean to you, right? What that means is that your comprehension is not what a standardized test is telling you that it should be. So what it probably means is that you're reading a book and they have a particular uh, number of questions, right? That are expecting a certain answer to them. And you're not answering the way that they're expecting. We don't know why you're not answering that way. Could be that you're not comprehending the book. Yes, that could be one of them. Could be that your brain works differently, right? That you're answering questions in a different way. We don't know that. I don't know you. You don't know me. We don't know how our brains work. Could be undiagnosed neurodivergency. Could be that it is a fifth grade reading level. The truth is, I don't know. Only you know that. So that's why I don't want you to stress. So what you're gonna do is if you're on your new reading journey, that's why we're not gonna stress. If you find that reading has become difficult for you or you don't even know, let's start at the beginning. Let's start very basic. Go on the children's book section and read one of those books. Children's books are magical and wonderful and fun. And just read that. And if you feel like you totally understood everything that they're saying, then you're good. Then move up. Go on and go on and go on. And also different genres, you're gonna be at different levels. Like I said, when I was a kid and I grabbed Sense and Sensibility, no clue what I was reading. No clue. It took me years. By the way, it took me years up until my adulthood. Should be in my university era. Like, not, I'm not telling you that I ended up reading that when I was 17. I finished reading Sense and Sensibility when I was a grown adult when I had a job. I finished other Jane Austens before I finished Sense and Sensibility. It took me a while, even though I knew the story. I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know when. I don't know if it was just like the issue that I kept like stopping. I don't know, but I just didn't. And that's okay. I never beat myself over it. I just didn't finish it, right? I was not an avid sci-fi reader. I'm still consider myself like probably a intermediate sci-fi reader, maybe even beginner intermediate. There's a lot of terms of science that I don't know. There's a lot of sci-fi that I get lost in because I'm not a scientist. That is not my area of expertise. When it comes to heavy sci-fi, I get lost very easily because I don't understand a lot of the terms and the jargon. And when the storytelling goes heavily into that, I get lost very quickly, very easily. So I'm not gonna be an expert reader when it comes to sci-fi. But when it comes to Regency, I can read that like it's nothing because I've been reading that since I was a child and my brain is used to the language, the banter, the rhythm. So you don't have to stress about it. If I'm reading, I just read, for example, a blazing world. A Blazing World is considered one of the first sci-fi, but it was written in the 1600s by a duchess. The language is very similar. It's not, obviously it's not Regency, but it's very similar to those kinds of books. The language English feels more familiar to me to a 1700 book written by Jane Austen than a sci-fi from now. So for me, it was easier to read A Blazing World, which is one of the first sci-fi books, than it is to read a modern sci-fi. That is more complicated to me. That terms, the way that is written, it's more complicated and modern sci-fi than A Blazing World from the 1600s, if you know what I mean. So try and find your level. Try and experiment. If you don't know, then go back to the basics. Go to your, again, bookstore, Goodwill, wherever. If you don't want to invest a lot on this hobby because it could be a very expensive hobby, if you want it, but it can also be a very cheap one. You can go to your library or you can go to your Goodwill. Um, go to the children's section and see what you like. So again, you already know what you like. Look for those books in those areas. Middle grade, if you're an adult, maybe try middle grade first and see what you like. Something like A Wrinkle. If you like sci-fi, maybe try something like A Wrinkle in Time. I know that there's a lot of things maybe there that you might comprehend, maybe not, maybe yes. I don't know. I haven't read it. I saw the movie. I am actually excited to read it right now with little reader. I have a little reader, so that is exciting. She's more into science. She's probably gonna know more than me in that particular area, and that's fine. That's the fun thing about it. I don't know if they talk a lot about science there, so we will see. um, so that is the fun part of discovering what level are you at. And then you can start with that. You can pick middle grade books. If you feel like that's too easy, then go to YA, right? And if you still feel like that's too easy, then go to new adult. And if you still feel like that's too easy, then go to adult. But yeah, that's where you can try. The reason why I'm telling you to go back to basics is because if you start with adult and you don't like it, that's when sometimes we get discouraged. Sometimes we think, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't like it. You don't like that particular book or you can't read that particular level just yet. Go. It's okay to go down one level. It's okay to go down one level. I mean, what does that even mean? I love reading middle grade. I love reading YA. I love YA. I'm now anywhere near YA age. I love YA. Like, those are just different, like, again, different standards that they put, but we are all in different levels depending on the genre, depending on what we like. So it doesn't matter. Never feel bad at the level that you're at in the reading that you're at in the genre that you're at. So don't feel bad about it. I don't. So you already kind of know the topics that you want to read. You already know kind of like the books that you are interested in, and you kind of know that level and maybe the genre that you want to go into. Now it's time to pick your format. How are we going to read? And you're probably thinking like, well, I'm just going to pick up a book, right? Well, it depends. Depends on you. Did you know that there's a difference between reading a physical book, listening to an audiobook, or reading an ebook? And also, did you know that some people actually see the whole scenario in their head while they're reading? Some people can hear the narrator in their ears, in their mind. Some people actually read out loud when they're reading a physical book. So I don't know which kind of reader you are. Test it out. Maybe go to a library or go to a bookstore, pick up a book and see which reader are you. Go ahead and try it out. See if you pick up a book, if you start reading out loud, if you when you start reading, are you listening to the narrator? Do you not listen to anything? Are they just words on a page? Can you actually picture everything? Some people literally just see the words on a page. Some people can see the whole scene. Sometimes when you're just starting out, all you can see are the words on a page. But once you get the hang of it, you can start to picture everything in your mind. I am the kind of person who pictures everything in their mind when they're reading a physical book. But when they're listening to an audiobook, it kind of explodes. No matter what I'm doing, even if I'm doing a task, I can literally still see it in my mind. I don't know how that works. I can see the picture in my mind. It's like a split screen. I can be doing my task and I can be picturing everything in my mind. So see which one you are. If the audiobook has an orchestra, has different actors, has like the sound effect, for me that's like incredible. It's like watching a movie in my mind. So depending on the way you like consuming your books, it's how you're gonna wanna do it. Also, if you have any physical impediments, any chronic illness, maybe reading a physical book is gonna make it more difficult for you to read it. Don't get discouraged. Try audiobooks or try ebooks. For me, it's very difficult to read a physical book for more than an hour a day. I've talked about it before, and I rely on audiobooks because that's what I have to do if I don't want to get migraine attacks, heavy migraine attacks. So I have to do that. There's no other choice for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't read like mostly at all. I would probably end up reading maybe an hour, 2 hours a week. That is nothing, and I would never get through any books. Definitely have noticed that I used to read very slowly before, probably because I got tired very quickly. And since I started using audiobooks, I've been able to read a lot faster. I've been able to be more focused on my reading, actually absorb the story, actually remember things more clearly. I don't have to go back. I used to have to go back because I couldn't focus. I know there are a lot of people that talk about audiobooks have this problem. I used to have that problem with physical books where I was reading on a page and I would um, focus on something else or just another, I would start thinking about something else and I couldn't focus so much on it. Anything would distract me. And with audiobooks, I don't have that problem. I can concentrate on the word so much that I'm completely invested in it, in that world. And it's really hard for me to get out of that world. Um, and I'm completely immersed in it. So yeah, for me, it has been a much better tool to consume stories. When it comes to my audiobook, even reading in tandem with the physical and the audiobook, that's been a great way of being able to consume the stories and not just the physical book. And again, being able to just be my eyes on a page for more than an hour is completely um, tiresome and it strains my eyesight so badly then yeah, it's very difficult for me to do that. So just see which format works for you and pick that one, try the other one, try audiobooks again and see which one fits better for you, and that's the one that it's gonna serve you best. There is no right way of reading, there's just reading, and whoever tells you otherwise, they're probably not readers because each person is different, each person works differently, each brain works differently. However you intake the information, as long as you're actually taking in the information, the story, it doesn't matter what works best for you. That's the way it again it goes. And like I said before, I don't know you, you don't know me, I'm not in your brain, you're not in mine. So whatever you say that works better for you, I am gonna trust you 100%. And yeah, that's the way it should be. So find your format and stick with it, and yeah, enjoy your reading with that. All that is left is the book that you actually wanna read. So for that, all you need to do is do a quick internet search, look for other creators, see what they have been reading that maybe is similar to that, or you do your own search online. Like I said before, look for let's keep it up with maybe the sports analogy or the music analogy. Let's say a graphic novel. In this case, because it's a graphic novel, let's go for it's probably gonna be like a middle grade, and well, it doesn't have to be a middle grade, but let's leave it at a middle grade, and let's look for an ebook, right? So why don't you go online and search for middle grade graphic novel about a guitarist, or a middle grade graphic novel about a drummer, middle grade graphic novel about a singer, and see what comes up. Middle grade graphic novel about a basketball player, middle grade graphic novel about a football player, middle grade graphic novel about a swimmer. And you can look for that. And then just take those same prompts and look for other things. If you can, when you do your search, do the minus AI so you can actually get recommendations from websites, from book magazines, from reader magazines, from bloggers, from booktubers. So all of that can come up on your search. Why am I saying this? Because that also your new community. If you do that, you're gonna get the direct pages and websites from all of those people that are in the community. Then maybe you wanna visit. Then maybe you wanna check out. If you just leave the search automatic, right now all the search engines are just giving you AI searches. And what they do is they take all the information that all of these people have been working on for so long, and they just put it in a concise summary. And although that's great if you want like a quick answer, and they do have a link, you don't want to do that because you don't actually see the credit, you just see the quick response. You have to look for the credit, and you don't ever visit those actual pages. But if you just put the minus AI, you're gonna see all of the websites. You're gonna get to click on it, and you're gonna see the community there's right there. All the websites of again, book magazines, reader magazines, publishers, booktubers, everybody that's in that community. There are readers, there are publishers, there are people who support books and love books and support authors and all that. So if you want to do that, that is also another way of finding like amazing community, but also finding books that you might be interested. So take that prompt. And again, let's see, if you don't want to start with middle grade, you want to start with new adult, right? Maybe you are an adult who want to start your reading journey. You don't want to go down to middle grade or YA level, and maybe you want to start with new adult. So let's do that. And maybe you don't want to do that, look for a specific taste that you have. Maybe you just like stories about friendship, right? Stories about girlhood, or stories about coming of age stories. People just finding their friendship, their group, their people. So let's say that. Let's see, you can look something for contemporary books about friendship, new adult contemporary books about friendship, and you can put audiobooks, ebooks, or printed books. And again, minus AI and see what comes out. What comes out. Now for the extra tip. If you wanna enjoy this journey and do a little bit of an extra step, you wanna join this community and you wanna enjoy this community and join it in a little bit of a more significant way, and maybe read a little bit diversely. That means that you wanna read authors from all over the world, not just the same popular authors that kind of get a little bit shoved in our faces online. You can also use any of the prompts that you might think of, like the examples that I said, but also add something else at the end. So let's take the same example as the friendship one. Let's say you want to look for stories about friendship, contemporary books about friendship from Black authors, from Hispanic authors, from Asian authors. And if you want to be very specific, that's usually what I do, from Mexican authors, from Japanese authors, from Jamaican authors, from Colombian authors, from Taiwanese authors. Whatever you want to write, go ahead and write it down. Anything that you can think of. Sometimes if we just put like Hispanic, um, Asian or South Asian, or European, the same people also come up, or it goes a lot into um, American, like Asian American, Latin American, and it sends us to a lot of amazing authors, but all are American. And if we go and just put Mexican authors, Colombian authors, Japanese authors, we can get a lot of books that might be translated. So that's also great because we can diversify our reading that way a lot of their work is being translated, so you can read it in your own language in English but still get a little bit of more of a view of what is going on in the world outside of our little bubble right here. If you're interested in doing something like that, that feels maybe a little bit more of a bigger jump, then stay with the simple prompt, and maybe you can move on to that at a later point in time. And that's it. That's all the tips I have for you to become a reader in this 2026. Let me know if you're planning on using any of these and for you to start your journey into this reader community. Let me know once you find the book that you're planning on reading, which one that is. Put it right there on the comments. Let me know how your reading journey is going. I'm very excited. If you hit a bump in the road, don't ever hesitate to send me a comment. Let me know how you are doing, how I can help. A lot of my former students and people that I talk to that are gotten into reading, sometimes we hit bumps in the road. Sometimes we pick books that are not meant for us, and we just have to kind of pivot and keep searching for the one that is gonna make us lifelong readers. And yeah, even if there's no one around us, there is a reader. We just have to keep looking for that one, and sometimes we just hit it like a home run our first try. So don't get discouraged if you don't, and if you do, yay. And don't worry, you'll eventually hit a slump. We all do, but we always end up on the other side, and we always come back to this reading journey all together. So anyways, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that bell button so you can get notified every time I upload a video. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to keep reading and keep blooming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.